Welcome to Planetterrian Daily, episode 106. Today is June 30th, 2026. Some interesting findings to cover today. A brain protein may let toxic tau spread between neurons in Alzheimer's. Researchers at CTU developed a low-cost tool that monitors natural vibrations caused by wind to reveal internal structural weaknesses. The system uses one sensor rather than arrays of traditional instruments. It identifies changes in a building or bridge's resonant frequencies that signal damage before visible cracks appear. The approach aims to reduce inspection costs for infrastructure. NASA will launch a robot on Tuesday to dock with the aging Swift telescope and prevent its uncontrolled re-entry. The spacecraft has operated for 2 decades and risks burning up without intervention. Engineers designed the rescue as a long-shot attempt to preserve an instrument still returning data on gamma-ray bursts and other high-energy events. Success would demonstrate in-orbit servicing techniques for other aging observatories. The mission targets a specific failure mode where loss of control could produce debris in low Earth orbit. Ground teams have already validated the docking sequence in simulation. On a different note, a new analysis of 5 randomized trials with 238 participants found creatine improved symptoms in 2 studies of women with major depressive disorder when added to standard treatment. The other 3 trials reported no clear benefit. Creatine is thought to support brain energy metabolism. Larger trials focused on specific patient subgroups are needed next. A Kaunas University of Technology study found that digital health ventures succeed more often when founders secure connections to healthcare systems, datasets, and funding than when they begin with a novel concept alone. The researchers examined factors that separate funded companies from those that stall. Practical infrastructure proved decisive in early survival. The findings apply to teams seeking to commercialize diagnostic or monitoring tools. Researchers created an AI approach that tracks how students arrive at answers instead of scoring only the finished product. The system analyzes intermediate steps in problem solving to distinguish genuine skill gains from AI-assisted polishing. Early tests suggest it can flag cases where tools mask incomplete understanding. Educators are exploring integration into existing assessment platforms. A common protein appears to package and transport toxic tau between neurons in laboratory models. Blocking package formation could interrupt propagation even after initial aggregates appear. The finding comes from laboratory models showing the protein's role in moving tau from damaged to healthy cells. Researchers plan to test targeted interventions that prevent package assembly. Human brain relevance and patient group selection for early intervention remain open questions. Longer-chain PFAS compounds behave differently in water systems than shorter ones, affecting both how long they remain and which removal technologies work. The distinction matters for designing filters and predicting contamination spread. Researchers mapped these structure-dependent patterns across multiple treatment methods. Utilities may need tailored strategies rather than uniform P-fatties regulations. Chain length also influences how readily the compounds bind to sediments versus remaining dissolved. The data come from controlled experiments that varied molecular weight while holding other variables constant. Now, shifting to a very different area of research. The identification of a protein that packages and moves toxic tau between neurons adds a concrete cellular mechanism to ongoing Alzheimer's research. If the packages can be blocked, progression might slow even after initial aggregates form. The work builds on earlier observations of tau spread and now points to a possible intervention point. What remains unclear is whether the same protein operates in human brains at the same scale seen in models. Which patient groups would be prioritized for the first trials of a package-blocking therapy? An analysis of 4.6 million NHS contacts in England found warmer days and fewer sunshine hours increased emergency visits for anxiety and depression. The effect appeared even without extreme heat waves. Researchers controlled for seasonal patterns and holidays. Service planners are considering weather forecasts when scheduling staffing. Now, here is something most people get wrong. Most people assume only heat waves or storms affect mental health, yet everyday temperature and light changes also shift symptom burden. Right now, as you notice a warmer afternoon or a cloudy stretch, your autonomic and circadian systems are registering those shifts and adjusting stress hormone output and sleep pressure accordingly. An English study of 4.6 million service contacts showed measurable rises in anxiety and depression visits on warmer, darker days, even without extremes. The practical number to remember is that these non-extreme fluctuations already drive detectable changes in emergency demand. Paying attention to your own patterns during ordinary weather swings can help you anticipate when extra sleep, light exposure, or movement might blunt the effect. Future public health planning may incorporate routine weather data into staffing and outreach. A King's College London study linked relative drops in academic performance during school years to higher odds of later justice system involvement. The association held after accounting for baseline socioeconomic factors. Researchers tracked cohorts to identify the timing of performance changes that mattered most. Early academic support programs are now being examined as potential preventative measures. The dataset spanned multiple years and controlled for prior behavioral indicators. Timing of the performance decline emerged as a stronger predictor than absolute achievement level. From population-level weather effects on mood to individual-level cognitive adaptations that persist after major life events such as pregnancy. Research on mommy brain shows dopamine pathways active during motherhood can produce enduring shifts in cognitive processing. These changes appear to enhance certain forms of attention and memory that persist beyond the postpartum period. The work draws on animal models and human imaging to trace the mechanism. Follow-up studies aim to determine how long the adaptations last across different life stages. Research published in the International Journal of Procurement Management found tailored contracts with different suppliers reduced environmental impact better than one-size-fits-all policies. The study compared outcomes across product categories with varying supply chain complexities. Companies gained larger reductions by matching relationship depth to material type. Implementation requires better supplier data sharing. Category-specific contracts outperformed blanket mandates in both carbon and waste metrics. The authors note that data transparency between buyers and suppliers was the enabling factor. From natural, lasting brain adaptations to engineered mechanical properties in synthetic systems. University of Tokyo scientists showed that lipid composition controls membrane stretching while DNA nanostructures govern bending stiffness in engineered cells. The two properties can be adjusted independently. This separation allows precise mechanical programming of synthetic vesicles for drug delivery or soft robotics. Next experiments will test stability in physiological conditions, from designed cellular mechanics to the challenge of detecting unintended biological signatures elsewhere. Scientists warn that current instruments and assumptions about biosignatures could produce false negatives even when life is present. Hidden metabolic byproducts, unfamiliar chemical patterns, and technology gaps all contribute to missed signals. The team recommends future missions prioritize tests that rule out overlooked signatures rather than only confirming expected ones. Revised search strategies could change how data from Mars and icy moons are interpreted. IMDEA Materials Institute developed a machine learning tool that forecasts flame retardant performance of new epoxy formulations. The model was trained on existing resin datasets and validated against experimental burn tests. It reduces the need for iterative physical trials during material design. Industry partners are evaluating its use for aerospace and construction applications. Prediction accuracy held across multiple resin chemistries in the validation set. The approach bypasses the traditional cycle of synthesis followed by destructive testing. A preprint argues that widespread adoption of artificial intelligence could reduce humanity's long-term expansion into space, offering one resolution to the absence of detected extraterrestrial civilizations. The model examines how AI-driven priorities might shift resources away from interstellar missions. It contrasts this pathway with earlier assumptions about exponential colonization. Further modeling will test sensitivity to different AI governance scenarios. The authors frame the outcome as one possible answer to the Fermi paradox. Resource allocation under advanced AI systems forms the central variable in the simulation. Before we go, next time keep an eye on follow-up modeling of how artificial intelligence governance scenarios might influence long-term space expansion plans. That is Planetterrian Daily for today. If you enjoyed this, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. I am Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I will see you tomorrow. And if you would rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at Neura Network. Link is in the show notes. And before you go, this show is part of the Neura Network, a family of daily podcasts on tech, science, and markets, each one a short, sharp briefing you can finish on the commute. If today earned its place in your feed, here is your next listen. Tesla Shorts Time, your daily deep dive into everything Tesla. Find every show free at neuranetwork.com. That's Planetterrian Daily for today. If you enjoyed this, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. And if you'd rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at Neura Network. Links in the show notes. And before you go, this show is part of the Neura Network, a family of daily podcasts on tech, science, and markets, each one a short, sharp briefing you can finish on the commute. If today earned its place in your feed, here's your next listen. Tesla Shorts Time, your daily deep dive into everything Tesla. Find every show free at neuranetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.